Okay, so hello everyone, my name is Jonathan, and welcome back to the Jonathan Obinna. But today we're going to be talking about certain relationships. And welcome back to the playlist of explaining what disputes, what events, and what conflicts with Jonathan Obinna. After this video is made, it's going to be remain to the world with Jonathan Obinna. It's gonna be renamed to the world with Jonathan. The world with Jonathan. As you can look in, as you're looking at this right now, is the beauty. Is the pyramid of Giza. This I forgot the name of this, but it's in Egypt. And Egypt has made some astonishing accomplishments, and you can already see them pyramids and beautiful monuments. But its most best achievement, well, it's not really an achievement, it's just a natural event. Anyway, that natural answer that is helping Egypt a lot is ever since its existence, and that sound that is coming from my sister's tablet is really disturbing me. But one thing that has really helped Egypt in these overcoming years, or the dynasties and empires that were occupying Egypt, one thing that has helped them a lot is the Nile River. The Nile River is a river that splits Egypt into two, just like the Dnieper River in Ukraine. And it's got an interesting touch, which not only, well, before I get to what I'm about to say, there's, if you look at the Nile River, it's filled with life. Almost all of Egypt's population is located here, and it's the only place in the one of the only places in the entire Sahara Desert that has some green life in it because of the river. So, this really helps Egypt. And comparing to other countries, they don't have something very similar. Like the only place that is similar to this place is in Libya, which is Benghazi, Libya. But it still really doesn't get as much rainfall, but it's still not a very good comparable something to Egypt's Nile River. And also, let's look at this picture from Mars. And as you look at Egypt at night, you can see that all the light of the country is basically in the Nile River. Like, let's look at another map here. Okay, this is a map with borders, and you can see that Egypt, I mean, you can already see that the population lives around the Nile River. Not all of it, like maybe like 90% of it lives in the Nile River. And this has been an important asset, and everybody lives here because there are many things. We already know why people live here, because it's the only area where it's not desert, and there are also some extra things of here. Like, literally all of Egypt's water that is consumed in the country comes from the Nile River, and all the farming and all of that is made in the Nile River. So, and all the important cities of Egypt, because of this, are located in the Nile River, including the capital Cairo, and a very important city, Giza, Alexandria, and other important cities. Um, so this is another reason why people have been moving here. In all its history, even big empires like the Muslim, the Caliphate, the Roman, the Ottomans, I forgot his name again. The own Egyptian Empire, and many other assets. Many other empires. This was a very strategical zone, because not only does it serve as a very big, I'm coming. I have a very bad cough today. Not only does it serve as a very good geographic point, but it also serves as a very good point from invading armies and the enemy. The reason why Egypt is very hard to invade, well, if we look at the 6-Day War, there wasn't really anything else. let's just look at why this is a very strategical point for Egypt. Because as you look from here, Egypt is a very hard country to invade. Even though in the Six-Day War, Israel technically won the war, and if we look at that, it's not only Egypt that fought the war, it's also Syria, Lebanon, and Saudi Arabia. But let's not look at that because we're just focusing on Egypt. The reason why it's a very difficult country to invade is because it has many geographic strategical points. Now, first of all, on its west, they have a very rocky sort of, but they have deserts there. And invading this area is not very easy, and things like tanks and military vehicles, it's hard. It will be hard for them. It will be very hard for them to move across this area. And by then, the Egyptian army would have reached there and settled the problem. Then you have the rocky south. Now, the south is really rocky. And any army from maybe countries like Sudan, they won't be able to invade up because it's very rocky. And they have its what's the name of this peninsula of this strip that Egypt has that is connected with Israel. It is not only very rocky, very mountainous, very arid, and does not have anything there. It does not have any supplies or any water. So even if in the Six-Day War Israel occupied all of this, in the Six-Day War Israel kind of occupied this northern area and then occupied all of this peninsula and reached like in the Suez Canal. And even if that thing happened, Israel Israel is a different matter because they're one of the strongest countries in the world. Even though you might not look at okay. Let's look at this North Korea, for example. North Korea is a small country, but still it is one of the strongest countries in the world. It has nuclear weapons. It has 1 million soldiers. It has like the same amount of soldiers that Russia has, even though they are facing some difficulties in Ukraine. And I don't consider it a world power anymore. I'm gonna give second place to China because I don't know why. I don't know. Are you seeing Russia? I believe Russia. If you didn't look at these recent events, there is a Nova Kakhovia dam was exploded. Russia says it was Ukraine. Ukraine says it's Russia. But I highly doubt it will be Ukraine because there will be big consequences if it was Ukraine, and they are smart enough to know these consequences. And I know Russia. I was surely Russia, and now gallons. I'm like 1 million and 13 millions and millions and millions of gallons of water are flowing everywhere, and it did not affect the Ukrainian front at all. It more affected the front line of Russia, so they kind of did bad to them. So let's go back to the reason why Egypt. But even if Israel occupied this land, that was done. Now Egypt has more security, more military, and it will be very hard to invade this area now. And if there was ever the Six-Day War, like something like the Six-Day War again, like the Arab League versus the Israel, this is Israel, it will not turn out good for Israel, but someone might intervene, and this certain country is kind of the reason why Israel is a very strong country. But we're not going to look at that now. But the thing here is that Egypt is almost untouchable. And even if someone reached here, you have the Nile River. The Nile River is it will be one of the most strategic areas for Egypt to advance because they can just put frontline soldiers and everything, and they'll be able to counter fence or hold them off there. And it will be very hard it will be almost impossible for anyone to invade it. So That's the thing. That's the thing of Egypt. Now, Egypt doesn't have its Nile River all over to itself. Let's look at the picture here. Now, I'll show you this picture. This is the picture of the Nile River. Now, as we already know, all of us know that the Nile River is the longest river in the entire world. The longest in the entire world, located in East Africa or Northern Africa at the same time. And as you can see, it's not only shared by Egypt. It's shared by 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 countries. You have Egypt, Sudan, South Sudan, Ethiopia, and Uganda that share the same river. Maybe even the DRC. But I don't think the DRC will be involved. I don't think it goes through the DRC as well. But, as you can see, it's not ruled by Egypt alone. And this is why people can also have an advantage of this if they want to weaken their enemy. And I'll get into a fact very soon, but that a country is doing something that is going to weaken Egypt, but it's not in an intention to weaken them. In fact, they don't want to do anything to do with them. They don't want to hurt them. They don't want to make them better. They are just on their own. And we'll get into that soon. Now, remember, the British Empire, which, let me show you another picture. This is the map of the British Empire. And this is once like, this was UK, but when it was an empire. It was called the British Empire. And as you can see, it has a huge chunk of Africa. Actually, this isn't actually the greatest extent. This is the greatest extent over here. And now you can see that it has a huge chunk of Africa. Now let's zoom into Africa and see what it is. Now as you can see, this is the portions of Africa the British Empire owned. Now the reason why Egypt has its own flag, it might look like it's part of the British Empire. Now it's kind of part of the British Empire, but it's occupied by the British Empire, not entirely part of the British Empire, almost part of the British Empire. Let's just say it's part of the British Empire, but have in mind that it wasn't really part of the British Empire, just almost part of the British Empire. But it was occupied by the British. Let's just say it's owned by the British Empire. As you can see, Egypt is there. Now there was a time in the British Empire where Egypt owned all of the south. So Sudan and South Sudan were owned by Egypt. And also before the British Empire came to Africa and all the Europeans in the Berlin Conference, Egypt was also a big empire that stretched very far south, and that's why Sudan actually has pyramids in its northern side, because Egypt once controlled that area. And as you know, pyramids aren't formally from Sudan, they're from Egypt. So if you want, you can go search Egyptian pyramids or Sudanese pyramids. But in these times, almost all of the Nile was owned by Egypt, not all of it. But let's just look at something else. Now as you can see, I'll show you this map again. And now that you're looking at it, there is a certain country, Ethiopia, that owns like the Nile. Then you have the main Nile River. Well, before the Nile River, there are two rivers called the White Nile River, which is the one that is from Sudan, that comes from Uganda. And then you have the Blue Nile River, which comes from Ethiopia. Now, there is a certain lake here. I forgot the name of the lake. Let's look at the name of the lake. Okay, the name of the lake is Lake Tana, but you know, the Blue Nile River and the White Nile River join together in the capital of Sudan, Khartoum, and that's how they formed the Nile River formally. Now, there's also a thing you have to see. Egypt has a big advantage, and a lot of water flows here. Big palms. Now let's look at the geography of these countries because there's something you need to know. Now, where the White Nile River comes, it's not very mountainous, it barely rains, very arid, so not many water comes from there. Meanwhile, in Ethiopia, where the blue White Nile River comes from, Ethiopia has a rich, mountainous, rainy area. And that makes big amounts of water to accumulate in Lake Tana. And each, I forgot which season it is. There's a season in the year that Lake Tana accumulates a lot of water and it just pumps out. Boom, boom. All the water comes out from the Lake Tana, joins in Khartoum, and goes all the way into Egypt, giving Egypt a lot of valuable water. Now, let's go back to satellite. Now, Ethiopia saw this. Egypt was there going good. And Ethiopia was here sitting. What do? This is a very valuable piece of land. I should use it accordingly. So they decided to go build a dam. Now let's look at the fan artwork made. Let's look at the contribution work made by Jonathan Obinna. Now this is the work I did, and this is actually going to be the thumbnail of the video. When I'm making this video, you already know this is the thumbnail of the video because this is what I'm going to use. But here's the work. Now I hope you enjoyed this thumbnail. It actually took me a lot of time because I had to translate into a different language. As you can see, there's Arabic and Amharic. Now, what does it say here? That Egypt is saying. It says, oh well. What does it say in Arabic? It says, "I will kill you." And then you have Ethiopia in the middle there, which Ethiopia looks like a bird, but that is actually because Egypt is in the center of Egypt's flag. No, in real life, no, but in this work, I put Ethiopia just behind, like Egypt is behind Ethiopia, and it's not looking good for Ethiopia. And Egypt has a bird in its middle, so that's why it looks like Ethiopia is a bird. And here it says in Arabic, the dam. That's the name of the video as well. And here under the map of Egypt, it says Egypt in Arabic, and there's versus Ethiopia map and Ethiopia in Arabic. Now there's big troubles here. And here we have more fan art by me, and more art by me. It's not fan art, it's art by me. And here it says, what Egypt is saying here is, Allah, please help me in Arabic. That is because, as you can see, there's a dam right here. Well, let's look at these funny things I put here. You see, I see Sudan saying, putting a question mark in Arabic. That's why the question mark is in the other side, in the other direction, because Arabic, you read it from, you read it, oh god, you read it like this, you don't read it like this, you read it from right to left, you don't read it from left to right, because it is in another direction. And as you can see here, you have Libya looking very bad, and it's saying, I will collapse. But let's just ignore that. Maybe we can talk about the topic of what is happening in Libya for a moment, for another video, because that is for another video. And we're talking about Egypt and Ethiopia here. Now, as you can see, there's a dam here, and that is the Grand Dam of Ethiopia, which, as you see, Ethiopia saw that there was big amounts of water pumping in, so they thought they could put a dam right there, so they could use the water for themselves for many purposes and to save a lot of energy. And when this dam is completed, it's not only going to save energy for Ethiopia, it's going to save energy for other countries around it, because it's going to produce a ton of energy. So many people liked this dam idea, except one country, that is Egypt. Because if Ethiopia builds this dam, all those waters that are pumping and pumping, they won't reach to Egypt. Only a few waters are going to pass. Now this stops Egypt because the White Nile, the Blue Nile produces like almost all of the water that passes through there. Meanwhile, the White Nile does not produce almost anything. It produces water, but it doesn't produce as much as the Blue Nile. And if the Blue Nile disappears, the Nile River is basically just doomed. So this is why Egypt does not like the idea. And this might even be the first time in history that the Nile River is threatened and Egypt is threatened. If the Nile River is threatened, Egypt is threatened, because the Nile River is the only thing that keeps Egypt standing. So, Egypt is trying to do something. They kept saying, Ethiopia, stop the dam. Ethiopia, stop the dam. Ethiopia does not listen and say that they will do whatever they want in their own land. The only problem here is that in the year, I forgot the year, but the British Empire recognized Egypt's authority all over the Nile River. Sudan respected it since he was their Muslim ally, Muslim brother, so they respected this. South Sudan, not much. Okay, that was just my mom. I'm going to do from mom. But hey, at least now it's better. But this is the problem. So they keep telling Ethiopia, no. And now, well, South Sudan. Let's go back with South Sudan. South Sudan does not like Sudan. Well, it's not that they fixed their relationships. This Sudan looks like, oh yes, okay, let's agree. But now you think of the East African Federation, that is another topic for another different video. Things are not going well, and I don't think things are gonna go well. But anyway, now Egypt is in a little pickle. Ethiopia, very soon there might be a big war between Egypt and its allies and Ethiopia and its allies. And when this day comes, there's gonna be big mayhem, both in Africa, both in Ethiopia, both in Egypt, both in the Nile River, and both international wide. So that was the story. Let's go back. That was the story of the dam, the world, with Jonathan Obinna. If you enjoyed the video, make sure that you subscribe, and I hope everyone can cooperate internationally. Bye.